What do you do when your woke gay brother is destroying your family? I'm going to respond to this and all your other woke horror stories, personal life scenarios, and questions you guys have for me in this Voicemail Friday episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast, my daily show where I take on internet and social media insanity from an independent political perspective. But on Fridays, I take your voicemails and give you advice and hear about your lives and your experiences. It's always really fun for me to do. And up first, we've got a real doozy on our hands. We're going to hear about somebody's woke sibling tearing their family apart. Let's listen.
Hi, Brad. My name's Rachel. I have a brother who is extremely far left. He's a gay man. He is incredibly outspoken, probably the most outspoken liberal I have ever personally met or come in contact with. I lean right. I'm in the middle. My parents are conservatives. Not far right or anything, just my mom's Southern. They're Christian. But they've given everything to my brother. He's been living in their house rent-free for 3 years, even though he comes up and yells at them for watching Fox News or comes up and yells at them for having any of the beliefs that they do. He constantly berates them and yells at them and calls them names. My mom is always calling me crying about it. And they still let him live there. And then recently he went to my entire extended family, poisoned their minds, told them horrible lies about my parents. Again, just calling them names. But they believed it. And they've now exiled my family, my parents. They've exiled my parents. And not only did they do that, but they also expect my parents to pay for my brother to move out. He doesn't have a job. He's been living there rent-free. They expect them to give him more money for all of this.
Wow. Well, I'm so sorry about this experience you're having and this piece of work that is your brother. I mean, I know he's your brother and I'm sure you love him. And I'm sure that, like all of us, there's good there. There's, people are almost never all bad or all good. There's always different sides and elements to people. But it sounds like forget about him being gay. No one cares. All right, that's irrelevant. Maybe he has some victim complex about it, but it doesn't sound relevant to the main issue here, which really, more than anything, seems to be his entitlement that is beyond belief. I mean, to think that as an adult, you're going to live rent-free with your parents, which, okay, they're being generous and extending that to you, and then have the audacity to try to tell them what television they can watch in their own house, to demand money to move out. No, that's called, you just evict him. Like, he comes home one day and his stuff's on the porch. I'm serious. You just got to kick him out at that point, because you have to set standards of decency and civility. We don't have to agree, but we have to respect each other. We're not going to berate each other. We're not going to make our mother cry. And if you can't do that, you're out. No questions asked. Get a job. You're a grown adult. Take care of yourself. That is ultimately how the world works. And it's nice if other people help you out, but ultimately they have no obligation to do so when you mistreat them. That is what I think your parents have to do. And while I have sympathy for them, based on the information you shared, it also sounds like they have coddled and enabled him too much for too long. And they have probably worsened this attitude problem that he clearly has, but they can't undo the past. All they can do now is kind of set these standards and kick him out. There's really nothing else to do. And then in terms of the extended family, it's hard for me to give too much advice without knowing more information, but I would just say that you should contact them and tell them that, hey, what he's told you is not true. Here's what's going on. And just be honest with them. And I guess if they choose to believe the worst about your parents and cut them off, after that, there's nothing you can do about that except be there for your parents. And it's not true, but if you can't control the outcome there, you can only just kind of do as much as you can to clarify the situation. And then beyond that, it's out of your hands, as terrible as it is. So I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this. It is unfortunate. I imagine a lot of people have probably had experiences with this, with people who have family members who get caught up in the victim mentality and really become so entitled and then start to see everything that goes wrong as somehow someone else's fault and them being oppressed and I I deserve to be paid to leave. It's all just diabolical and it's really sad, but you're not alone and my heart goes out to you. What do you guys think about this woman's story? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the like button, yada, yada, yada. And we got another real doozy in our next voicemail coming up right after this. AI is the future, especially for content creators. And today's sponsor, Opus Clip, is the most powerful growth tool ever built for creators. Its amazing clipping and automated editing services are used by top creators from Jubilee to Tom Segura to, of course, yours truly. One recent Jubilee clip made with Opus Clip actually got 52 million views on X.
They're not 100% safe. Nothing in life is 100% safe. Driving or walking here today is not 100% safe. I could have a heart attack right now. Cannot predict it. But what we can do is try to do the best that we can with the information that we have.
Opus Clip has helped people reach new audiences, drive views to long-form content, make a splash on TikTok, get started on YouTube, and so much more. Don't get left behind. To start your content journey today, check out the link in the description and get a week free of Opus Clip Pro and then 3 months at 50% off. Only available now at the link in the description. Now back to today's show. So now we're going to hear about somebody who has somebody in their life who their public advocacy and their private actions aren't quite adding up. Let's listen.
Hey Brad, if it's okay, I'd like to stay anonymous just in case anyone I know hears this. But my friend, who I'm still friends with, maybe was best friends for almost 10 years, she is a big political activist online on her Instagram. She's always reposting things on her story about Palestine and women's rights and trans rights and talking about safety of human beings and the rights of other human beings. And I just have such a hard time believing it because she's had 2 DUIs, like back to back in the past year. And mind you, I really have tried not to judge her for those. It's a difficult line because I do feel like she was putting people in danger, but some things happened in her life that I don't want to say justified, but it made me feel for her. So what do you think? I mean, it seems like the people who speak the loudest are the people who are hurting their own communities and not really focusing on the safety and well-being of those around them. But they're so quick to talk about the big picture of like Palestine and women getting hurt on the streets, which I understand that that's wrong, but like, what are you doing to make the world a better place? Tell me what you think.
So I love the tea. I'm always here for the tea. So please, guys, send me in more voicemails like this. I love it when y'all snitch on people who love to virtue signal, but then are actually not very virtuous. This is kind of like the woke version of the old trope of like the ultra homophobic anti-gay person who gets caught like hooking up with men in the park or something. It's kind of like that. It's the people talking about free Palestine, protect women, getting drunk and driving around town. Like, listen, I appreciate what you said about your friend having had some, and you didn't get into the specifics, but I maybe hazard a guess, some bad experiences that are taking them to a dark place, and I can have empathy and compassion for that, but nothing justifies endangering others, and especially the twice. I mean, it's never okay to drive while drunk, while seriously incapacitated, but like people do make mistakes. One DUI to me is kind of a different situation than a second. Once you get that second one, you're starting to demonstrate a like real pattern of disregard for the safety of others and a real selfishness and irresponsibility there that I think it's actually okay to judge your friend for that. It's okay to judge people based on their repeated actions and choices. In fact, what else is there really to judge people on? We shouldn't judge people on things they don't choose, like, being black or being white. We should actually literally judge them mostly only on the things they choose and the actions they take. So I think you're well within your rights to judge this person. Now, I'm not sure there's anything you could or should do in this situation. If this person is still your friend and you care about them, there's nothing to be served by like exposing them. Well, oh, nice Palestine post. You have multiple DUIs. I don't think you could do anything other than try to encourage them to be a better person in their private life and sip your tea and maybe gossip about them with your friends a little bit. I'm here for it. I love it. But I do agree. It's just whatever the Jordan Peterson thing is, like make your bed, right? Or don't throw stones from a glass house. These kinds of things. It does frustrate me when people spend so much of their time obsessing over things happening thousands of miles away, as terrible as and important as those things are, or like writing each other off because of national political issues that neither of you have any control over, when it's like, actually, like, volunteer in your community. Be kind to someone in public today. Like, there are so many things. It's the similar kind of phenomenon you encounter with people who give up and stop trying because they decide they're oppressed. And it's reality. It's like, all right, well, if you maybe get a job and then try. And there's things you can do to improve your own circumstances. I feel that same way about people who spend their time virtue signaling about all these big picture issues. Not only is it a distraction from the things they could be doing to actually make a difference in their community, like not driving around drunk, perhaps, it's also, if anything, perhaps actively the opposite of that. They are purposefully focusing on these national issues as a coping mechanism to make them feel better about the fact that they know on the micro level they're actually making things worse. So maybe that's what's at play here. I don't know what you can really do in this situation, but I do love the tea, and I appreciate you spelling it with me. Up next, we're going to hear from somebody who, shocker, on an all-women's college campus, is having some unpleasant experiences. Let's listen.
Hey, Brad. My name is Lillian. I go to all-females college, which will probably partly explain this story. So there's this app, though, called Fizz, and, the college students can interact with other college students from their campus, but it's all anonymous, and you don't know who's who except for, like, their school email. I mean, that's how you sign in. And then, it's just, I don't have it, so I didn't know what was going on, but I heard this story. One of my friends, she wanted to start like a Turning Point USA here on campus, and people started sending her death threats, and then somehow they found her, and she doesn't live alone. She lives with like 3 other people. So their like dorm was found, and rocks got thrown at their window. And I just thought that was like absolutely insane and totally absurd. And why? Why more violence? I just don't understand. So yeah, crazy story, crazy college life.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And I agree with you. It's terrible. Obviously, it's wrong. I do have a little piece of me that's like, I mean, what do you expect at these all-girls school? Now, it's funny you say all-female school because at least, so I went to college at UMass Amherst, which is part of a 5-college consortium. Out in that part of Massachusetts, there's 5 colleges right around there. And 2 of them are all women's colleges. But I've always found it funny. They allow trans women who are biological males, and they also even allow trans men who are biological females, but say they're not women, they're men. So at that point, they're not really a women's only college or a female only college. They're none of the above. They're just not men who aren't trans college or something. I don't know. I find it all to be a bit odd, but I don't really care. But what is undeniable is that those all women's colleges overwhelmingly turn into super left-wing queer spaces. So this isn't surprising, but I would actually say that you should start a group. Maybe it's Turning Point USA, maybe it's another group, but you should start a group and you should ignore the threats or report them to the police. I doubt any of these non-binaries sending you threats via email are really going to do anything, but regardless, report them to the police if they're genuine threats. But actually, it sounds like this is exactly the kind of college campus that desperately needs a chapter of some sort of right-leaning group to bring in different speakers. We'll have to see. I don't know, but I actually think you should rise to the challenge, not back down from it, and that you should encourage your friend and maybe do it with her to start a chapter and to actively push these ideas and these discussions in the places where they're least welcome, because those are sometimes the places where they are most needed. And I think it sounds like your campus is one of those places. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you do that, or would you be too afraid to poke the bear? I've always been a little bit of a shit stirrer, so I would definitely poke the bear. That's what I did in my college days. But you guys let me know what you would do in the comments. And up next, somebody wants to tell me about the experience they had, also related to Charlie Kirk, may he rest in peace, in wearing one of his freedom-themed TPUSA shirts around town. Let's listen.
Hi, Brad. I am Jen. I come from the broken state of California in the Bay Area. And recently I had a weird situation happen. And this was like an experiment. I was a Charlie Kirk fan. I didn't agree with everything, but I agreed with a lot of what he said. So I bought a Charlie Kirk freedom shirt with the saying on the back that says, "Just because you're offended doesn't mean that you're right." And I decided to do all of my chores and my running around on Monday in this freedom shirt. I got some looks. I got some looks at Michael's. I got some looks at the massage parlor that I went to. And then nobody said anything, though. They were nice. And then I went to Safeway and I stood in line. I wasn't buying much. I just had to get some essentials. And the people there refused to stand behind me. They would see my shirt and they would immediately go over to the next aisle. Now, granted, there were only 2 aisles that were open, and I had to go in one aisle because I had liquor. 3 different people refused to stand behind me. And then one guy finally stood behind me. And I don't think he was even looking at me. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, this one is interesting to me on a couple levels because, one, I think it takes a little bit of guts to go rolling around in California in your Charlie Kirk t-shirt, but kudos to you for standing up for what you believe in. And then I cannot relate to a person who would, like, if there's 2 lines and one of them has a bunch of people in it and then one of them just has one person in it, but they have some shirt on, I probably wouldn't even notice and would just go in that line. But there's really no shirt in existence with any message that would make me subject myself to a longer wait line. Like, what is that going to accomplish or do? And it's not like, oh, that person has a shirt on. If I stand too close to it, I'm going to get hurt. Like, the whole thing is kind of silly. But what I guess I'll say is that there's 2 sides of this coin. Because on one hand, you know, it's silly and intolerant that anyone would be like this. But on the other hand, like, nobody assaulted you. Nobody threatened you. Nothing crossed the bright red line. And you should stand up for your values and continue to do this. If you believe in that shirt and you believe in Charlie Kirk and you believe in this, that this is an important message to send, then some people not being friendly to you, well, I think that's dumb and bad. Yeah, that might be the price you have to pay for that. Sometimes advocating for what you believe in or being true to yourself comes at a cost. And obviously that should never cross the red line of facing threats or violence or harassment. But if it might make you a little unpopular to stand up for your beliefs, that's not a reason to stop doing it. That's a reason to do it anyway and get thicker skin. I would encounter this sometimes at UMass Amherst when I would speak out in class. I'd have people come up afterwards and say, "Oh, thank you so much for speaking out. I really agree with you. I just didn't want to say anything because I didn't want my friends to hate me." And I always had a couple thoughts to that. Like, one, you really just have no backbone there, and I could have used the help. And 2, like, if being true to yourself loses you a few friends, that's not a price you're willing to pay. And aren't those people your friends? I don't want them to hate me. They already do. They just don't know it, you know? So I always got frustrated with those people. And I would say the same to you. And it sounds like you're already doing it. So you're already doing great. That if standing for your beliefs will make you a little unpopular or have some people scoot away from you at the grocery store, so be it. Life is not about being popular, at least not to me. or I would have been done something much different and much less controversial with my life, at least. What do you guys think? Everybody chime in the comments. One final message for today. We've got somebody who wants some relationship advice. And you know me, I'm basically Dr. Phil over here of relationship advice. So let's listen.
Hey Brad, my name is Alaska, and I recently started getting into educating myself on politics and government because I am tired of being ignorant on it. And a major reason for my shift of thinking was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And recently I consider myself, independent, but I have been listening to speakers like Amir, Mala, and Blair. And my boyfriend, who claims Democrat, but really isn't all that political, has taken notice to this and has started to kind of like tease and joke to his friends about it in front of me and question me on it. And more recently, our roommate introduced me to his brother as the girl who cried when Charlie Kirk died. And my boyfriend is the only one who knew that that even happened. I've explained myself and my feelings on the matter to him, and he still kind of pushes it and still teases. And I don't want to come off as, annoying, I guess, but what is your advice and thoughts on that situation and being in a relationship with someone who has differing political views? Thank you so much. I really appreciate everything you do.
So thank you for the voicemail, and good on you for educating yourself and getting out there and diving into all this complicated stuff. I don't really blame people who choose not to, but good for you for wanting to be informed. What I will say about what you've described about your relationship is I'm getting a red flag from your boyfriend here, and not because he is liberal, not because he wasn't a fan of Charlie Kirk, anything like that. He's entitled to those opinions, and I do believe that people who, especially people for whom politics is not a major part of their life, they're not professional political operatives, I do believe people can have healthy and happy relationships, even if they're slightly on different pages politically. However, the fact that he revealed your private emotional anguish over Charlie Kirk's death, and that you said a couple different words, that he's questioning you on some of these beliefs. That's okay to me, that he's pushing back or disagreeing or asking you questions. What really does jump out to me as kind of a betrayal of your trust and as failing to kind of respect you and honor your relationship is him like telling friends and people about embarrassing or sensitive things. Even if you just remove the political valence from that, that doesn't seem like something a caring and kind partner would do. So I would have a conversation with him where you put that very bluntly and remove the political lens from it. Don't say, oh, well, you disagreed with me about this and that hurt my feelings. No, say like, you were talking about me and revealing private stuff and in vulnerable moments to other people, like that felt like a betrayal of my trust, setting the politics aside, and see if he's receptive to that. Maybe he won't realize, maybe he didn't realize it was that big a deal. And he'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Or maybe he'll be like, oh, I don't care. Stop being a baby. And then you know that tells you something about how he views you and how he views your relationship. So I don't think it's necessarily an issue if you guys have different political views, but I think if you're failing to achieve open communication and to honor and respect each other, then I think that might be a problem that you need to maybe cause you to reconsider where you're at with that relationship. That would be my advice, at least personally, but at the end of the day, it's your life and your relationship, and I hope it works out whatever you do. What do you guys think? Chime in the comments. Do hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, yada, yada, yada. And that'll be it for this episode of the Brad vs. Everyone podcast. Do rate and review if you're listening to us on audio podcast platforms, and we'll talk again real soon.